President MUHAMMADU BUHARI approves work plan for National Council on Climate Change. Finance Minister rejects proposal seeking to establish new agencies. President MUHAMMADU BUHARI inaugurates police operational assets. On business, Debt Management Office raises 724.9 billion naira in February bond auction. On the international scene, United Kingdom Embassy guard caught after spying for Russia. And in sport, France by Osimhen's match, a striker equals Hygien record. And welcome to Standard Plus Television News Channel. I'm Svtv. President MUHAMMADU BUHARI has approved a work plan for the National Council on Climate Change. The President conveyed his approval at the inaugural meeting of the Council chaired by him with Vice President Yemi Osinbajo as Vice Chairman and the Director General of NCCC, Dr. Salisu Dahiru, as Secretary, among other members. The President also approved the deployment of staff from key ministries, departments and agencies to the Council to ensure its effective takeoff. Responding to a number of requests by the Director General of the Council on ensuring a smooth takeoff and operationalization of the Council, President Buhari approved the proposed institutional arrangement for the Council as presented. A proposal for the creation of new agencies to monitor and evaluate federal government projects by the National Institute for Peace and Strategic Studies has been rejected by the federal government. This came as federal government frowned at the publication of rules saying too many agencies were pursuing the same task. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmad, argued this at the opening session of the dialogue on the National Monitoring and Evaluation Policy and Women Economic Empowerment at the State House, Abuja. The minister, who represented the Director General of NIPS, Kuro Plateau State, Prof. Dan Pasha, was responding to earlier remarks by Prof. Dung Pansha. She said the federal government has upgraded its monitoring and evaluation framework by involving citizens in its project, saying his earlier proposal was premised on the need for autonomy for the development tasks with monitoring the implementation of federal government projects. President MUHAMMADU BUHARI has inaugurated some police operational assets at the force headquarters. Spokesperson of the force, CSP Olumuyiwa Adejobi, in a statement said the operational assets were acquired to strategically improve the operational capacity of the Nigerian police force, particularly the crowd control and anti-riot operations. Mr. Adejobi said 127 operational vehicles, including ambulances and crowd control barriers vehicles, were inaugurated by the President. Our correspondent, Raham Ibrahim, has more.
CSP Olumuyiwa Adejobi said arms, ammunition, riot control agents such as tear gas, tasers, stun guns, pepper sprays, bulletproof vests, helmets, and other personal protective equipment procured by the police were also inaugurated. He said the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Usman Baba, had assured that the assets will enhance operational efficiency and safeguard and secure the environment for law-abiding citizens to exercise their franchise at the general election. Mr. Adejobi added that the IG warned troublemakers that police personnel had been adequately trained and equipped for strategic deployment before, during, and after the elections. He assured that the police would enforce extant laws regulating the conduct of elections in Nigeria and strengthen general security across Nigeria. Rahama Ibrahim, Desert, Standard Voice Television.
The Zamfara state government has ordered all NGOs in the state to leave immediately. The state ministry and departments were ordered to stop any further relations with any NGO, as punitive measures will be taken against any MDAs found having any relations with such NGOs. This was contained in a statement by the State Commissioner for Security and Home Affairs, DIG retired Maman Ibrahim Safi. The Commissioner said this came as the government observed with utmost dismay the recent high influx of NGOs into the state, carrying illegal activities that contravened the existing law of the government, and that they are found engaging in activities of fueling insecurity in the state and its neighborhood. He said the government had further noted that the majority of these illegal NGOs have not registered with the state government in line with the laid-down rules and regulations of the government. DIG Mamman therefore directed all security agencies to be vigilant investigate and prosecute any NGO operating in the state without due clearance from designated authorities. Governor Bello Matawalle of Zamfara State had visited the Gusau branch of the Central Bank of Nigeria and 5 commercial banks in Gusau, the state capital. The banks visited by the governor included United Bank of Africa, Jaiz Bank, Eco Bank, and First Bank. Our correspondent, Jamila Ibrahim, has more.
The governor, during the visit, warned the commercial banks against hoarding the new Naira notes. He also directed bank officials to dispense the new Naira notes via the automated teller machines and at the banking halls. He said his visit was to assess problems being faced by the citizens in trying to access new Naira notes via long queues at ATMs amid acute scarcity and hopelessness in the state. The governor therefore warned that his administration will not hesitate to revoke the land of any commercial bank that is not willing to ensure their ATMs are fully dispensing new Naira notes in order to ease the suffering of the people. Jamila Ibrahim Dusara, reporter for Standard Voice Television.
Kebbi State Governor Senator Atiku Abubakar Bagudu has spoken about the importance of unity, peace and tranquility before, during and after the forthcoming elections for the future greatness of Nigeria. Our correspondent, Muhammad, has more.
Governor Abubakar Bagudu, who made the emphasis during a homage to the district head of Lani, Sarkin Sudan, Dr. Abubakar Bature Koko, to solicit for the support of the people in the area for the success of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Dr. Nasir Idris Karangwandu, senators and members of the House of Representatives and State Assembly candidates at the polls. The APC gubernatorial candidate, Dr. Nasiru Idris Karangwandu, appealed to all APC supporters to give him the opportunity to serve the state as governor, pledging to provide roads, electricity, agricultural inputs, education, healthcare, and other social amenities. Responding, the Sarkin Sudan Alhaji Abubakar Bature Koko commended Governor Atiku Bagudu for approving his appointment as the district head of Lani, saying he would do his best to ensure that the programs and policies of the government were upheld with loyalty. Muhammad reporting for Standard Voice Television News.
The military has assured Nigerians that the 2023 elections would hold peacefully in the southeast states and in all parts of the country in spite of threats by criminal elements. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Loki Rabo, gave the assurance in Abuja at the 25th edition of President Muhammadu Buhari's scorecard series. Newsman reported that the edition featured the Minister of Defense, retired General Bashir Magashi, who represented the scorecard for the ministry. Responding to a question on the threat by some Simon Ekpa-led faction of the outlawed indigenous people of Biafra to stop the elections in the southeast zone, General Rabo said no person or group can stop the polls. He said the armed forces are working in concert with the police and other security agencies to ensure that the menace of criminality from IPOB and Eastern security networks are eliminated. DSS has reportedly picked up Chief Femi Fani Kayode and is currently in their custody due to the allegations of threat. The DSS revealed that following his allegations of a coup plot against the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, the service said a member of the media directorate of the Bola Ahmed Tinubu Campaign Council, Chief Femi Fani Kayode, is in its custody. Spokesman of the DSS, Dr. Peter Afunanya, who stated that this said Fani Kayode had been with the service in response to the invitation extended to him. The controversial politician had in a statement said he had nothing to hide, those would present himself before the DSS in the morning as he was asked to do. Chief Fani Kayode had also hinted on his Twitter handle of a coup being planned by a section of the military with the convenience of some opposition politicians. And on business, the Debt Management Office has announced that it raised 724.9 billion naira in February 2023 federal government bond auction. The Debt Management Office said it was a 100% increase compared to the previous year. The auction, which was held on February 13, 2023, saw a total of 577 bids worth 724.9 billion naira received for the total amount offered of 360 billion naira. The total amount allotted was 771.56 billion naira, with successful bid allotted at a marginal rate of 13.99%, 14.90%, 15.90% and 16%. The settlement date for the auction was February 15, 2023, and the bond will mature on February 33, 2028, April 27, 2032, April 18, 2037, and April 26, 2049, respectively. According to a statement on the DMO's website, the auction was part of its effort to raise funds for the implementation of the federal government 2023 budget and to finance critical infrastructure projects across the country. And on the international scene,
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
a British security guard at the UK embassy in Germany who pleaded guilty to spying was snared in an elaborate sting after sending sensitive materials to Russia. David Balatsini-Smith, 56, had admitted to 8 charges, and London's Old Bailey Criminal Court is now considering argument ahead of his sentencing on Friday. Smith, who worked at the Berlin embassy for 5 years, pleaded guilty in November to violating the Official Secret Act. The court was told that he was motivated by an intense hatred for his homeland. Making their case for a strong sentence, prosecutors on Monday said Smith had sent a letter to a member of the military staff at the Russian embassy in Berlin. In it, he had disclosed documents including names, home addresses, and phone numbers of embassy staffs. He was also found to have taken several videos of sensitive areas inside the embassy building, where prosecutors allege that he had €800 on him that would not be accounted for. Equatorial Guinea Health Minister Mitaho Ondo Oyikaba has announced that death of 9 people in Equatorial Guinea from an outbreak of the Marburg virus, which causes a hemorrhagic fever nearly as deadly as Ebola, saying a province had been placed in quarantine. The government had announced last week that it was investigating the cause of suspected cases of hemorrhagic fever in a densely forested eastern region near the border of Gabon and Cameroon on Africa's central western coast, but said only 3 people had shown light symptoms. The minister at a press conference said a health alert had been declared in Kintim province and the neighboring district of Mongomo, with a lockdown plan implemented after consulting with the World Health Organization and United Nations. The Marburg virus is a highly dangerous mutagen that causes severe fever, often accompanied by bleeding, and often targeting several organs and reducing the body's ability to function on its own. The WHO said in a statement that, in addition to the 9 deaths, 16 other people in Kintim had shown suspect symptoms including fever and vomiting blood. It marks the first Marburg outbreak in the Central African country, though it noted previous outbreaks and sporadic causes in other parts of Africa, including in Angola, Democratic Congo, Guinea, Kenya, South Africa, and Uganda. And on sports, Napoli fans are so much in love with Victor Osimhen that they are not only queuing to buy his shirt but also replicates for his protective marks outside the Stadio Maradona. The Nigerian international is Serie A's leading scorer with 17 goals in 18 matches, including 8 in his last 6 appearances. He bagged one in Sunday's 3-0 win against Cremonese and Gazzetta Sport. The Patanopi supporters even queued to buy replicas for the protective marks he's been wearing for more than a year following a cheekbone injury suffered against Inter in November 2021. Replicas of Osimhen's marks are on sale in stores outside the stadium, and hundreds of fans were seen queuing to buy the gadget before their game with Cremonese. Meanwhile, the 24-year-old continues to equal and break record in Italy as he further enjoys his blasting performance. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, here's a recap of the major headlines. President MUHAMMADU BUHARI approves work plan for National Council on Climate Change. Finance Minister rejects proposal seeking to establish new agencies. President Muhammadu Buhari inaugurates police operational assets. On business, Debt Management Office raises 724.9 billion naira in February bond auction. During the international scene, United Kingdom Embassy Guard caught after spying for Russia. And in sport, France buy Osimhen's match as striker equals Hygiene record. That's the news, and for Ibrahim. Thank you for watching and you have a nice day.